running, you're good.
Yeah,
right.
I was trying to that was the hardest part, was concentrating, because I was like, how many was that? Like 14? No, I don't know. All right, we'll keep going.
I just get throw uppies.
Little regurgitation.
I think we all know what I mean.
Yeah, no need to go into detail.
I'm fine.
You're listening to the Bent Motorsports Podcast with the owner of Bent Motorsports, David Beckett, and his crew, Jacob Hunsinger, James Hernandez, and Jake Russo. Listen in as the guys discuss all things motorsports, including tech tips and current shop projects.
We're gonna get started. Welcome back to the Bent Motorsports Podcast. Today we have Ian and Brittany from Wheel Every Weekend, and just to pull the curtain back a little bit, we had them here last week as well, and we had some malfunctioning equipment, and we recorded a whole we thought we recorded a whole podcast.
There was a storm.
So we basically had a really sick hangout session with these guys last week, and then we're going to go ahead and try to record it this week. Right, James?
Yeah, so
hey, James.
Yeah, it was okay, it was totally my fault. It was 100% my fault.
You don't have to, I'm not making you take the blame. I told you it was just equipment malfunction. You're the one who put it out that it was your fault.
It was my own negligence, and I'm an irresponsible person.
So anyways, Ian and Brittany were super cool to come back and hang out with us again so that we can get this stuff all recorded and you can all hear it because it's pretty solid stuff. So welcome back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So these guys are on Instagram, Wheel Every Weekend. They have a sick vehicle, Toyota, that they rock crawl and do all sorts of crazy stuff. They're fabricators, builders by night, but by day they have a real job, I guess. We all say we have our real job, and then we have our hobby job. So maybe you guys can go into that a little bit, just maybe how you got interested in it, how long you've been doing it, just a quick, let us know what it's all about.
Yeah, I started off-roading when I was like 15, I think. And me and my buddy Michael and his family would go out to the desert with like quads and dirt bikes and stuff. And then first vehicle I ever owned was a 74 Volkswagen Bug, which I was like, oh, I'm going to turn into a Baja Bug. And I had no idea what I was doing. So I just like cut all the fenders off and like.
It's the first place to start.
It was junk. Yeah, I put like 33s on it. And then I was like, it won't go into fourth gear. I don't know why. And I like, well, because it has 12 horsepower. And I just tripled the tire weight and size. Right. So that was probably part of it. And then what else? That thing was junk. I had the tire fall off of it on the freeway once. Thanks, Michael.
How'd that end up?
I don't know who Michael is, but he just got thrown under the bus.
What a dick.
Yeah, I was like jacking up one side, and we were like 15 and didn't know any better. And he was like, oh, you can take off the lug nuts on the other side while one side's jacked up. And you can't because it broke them. Oh. And
nice.
Sturdy, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and he had an 83 two-wheel drive Toyota pickup with some almost bald 33-inch mud terrains on it, which was dope, which he broke in the Jack in the Box parking lot in Ramona trying to drive over a curb because it had torsion bars which were mounted underneath the axle or underneath the frame, so that's like the first thing you hit. So he smashed the torsion bar into the curb at the Jack in the Box in Ramona, and we had to drive home with only one side with suspension.
That sounds like well, that sounds like it worked pretty well.
Yeah. You never want to take out a torsion.
Thank God for bump stops, you know?
Yeah. I'm not sure it had them, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you always got to carry a little 4x4 and a 2x4.
Yeah, and some ratchet straps.
Yeah, you just take up that gap.
Yeah. And so it just kind of, it was like all downhill from there. And just been doing it for past like over 10 years now. And then met Brittany, got her into it. She actually bought a KTM.
Yes.
While I was in Iraq.
KTM.
But it was a 625 SXC, which is kind of a large bike.
Well, at least she shot for the stars. You know, we applaud you for that.
Hey, she rides motorcycles like I ride motorcycles. What's the biggest one you got? Bro, biggest one. Yeah. I want that one.
Give me it now.
Give me now.
It's literally like the tallest and the torquiest, I think, dual sport that KTM has ever made. Single cylinder 625.
Well, she's not to be trifled with.
Yeah. Well, she broke her ankle on
broke
it.
my ankle.
Yeah.
Could have happened to anybody, man.
Yeah.
It's a big bike.
Yeah, it is.
So we traded that for the truck we have now, along with $9,000 more.
Yeah. And it was like half built and barely made it home. We lost I think 14 beadlock bolts on the way home.
Nice.
And I was like,
Sweet.
man, this thing does not drive good. And it was because like 2 of the tires were at 2 psi.
And falling off.
Yeah, and like the 3-link was half done, and like the anti-wrap bar was half built. A bunch of other stuff.
But what a cool project you guys got
but
into.
yeah, it had the axles under it already, and it was like $9,000 plus the dirt bike, and we were like, oh man, you can't buy all the stuff separately for that much. So it
That's
seemed like
true.
a good deal, but now we're at the point where, as of next month, we'll have cut off every single thing that the previous owner did,
Nice.
and we're like, oh, it would have been easier to start from scratch. And
Hindsight,
cheaper.
right?
Yeah, so whatever.
But you got it, and you were actually able to go out and wheel it right away, and then you could progressively upgrade the vehicle over a period of time versus starting from scratch, and maybe it takes you 3, 4, 5 years to get this thing fully built. You could
Right.
be wheeling that whole time.
Yeah, and that's the problem, like, with how we build things, too. Because, like, the flatbed was supposed to be done in October, and I would say it's half done. And it's almost April.
And it's probably getting totally taken off again.
Oh, yeah, and we're cutting it off because I hate it.
It's all about the deadlines, is what like you have to set deadlines, and then you don't make them, and then you make another deadline, and then you don't make that, then
That's just
so on
you.
and so forth.
That's
just
just
you.
you, Russo.
Oh, is that just me?
That's
Okay,
just
never
you,
mind.
yeah.
Then. All right, cool.
So do you guys, can we talk about day jobs? Do you, like, what do you do for real life?
So I work at a law firm as a recruiter. So I hire the lawyers for us.
Gotcha.
And that is definitely just my day job.
How sweet is that job? Like interviewing lawyers, right? Like you get to sit down and be like, no, and you're like writing things down. What are you writing? Oh, don't worry about it. I'm just thinking. Right? Because these are typically like lawyers, doctors, guys who, or ladies who have,
Right.
I don't know, a little more higher thoughts of themselves, right?
Yes.
And so then you're the one who gets to like criticize them, right? Like,
Yeah,
no.
until they work for us.
Well, yeah,
I
then-
have to deal with them.
Right. What about you, Ian? Do you have a?
I'm using the GI Bill. I'm trying to go to med school, so I'm pre-med right now.
Oh, right.
And then I've also, I don't know how it happened, but our driveway turned into a fab shop, and I've been taking like some side jobs, like installing some off-road parts and
That's good.
welding on some long travel kits and stuff. And then
I just saw you posted something about you just did a kit.
yeah, it was the Total Chaos like spring under shock hoop thing with the Fox bypasses on it. It was terrible because none of the brackets fit.
They never do.
Wait,
No,
it wasn't bolt-on?
That's crazy.
Literally,
No
yeah,
way.
which is crazy because that's the leaf springs and the spring axle and everything else is like what it's made for,
Mm-hmm.
and it's made for specifically that year Tacoma, and only 2 of the brackets fit out of like 12. So
Rad.
Go figure,
Welcome to my world.
You would think you spend all this money to buy a kit like that, and it just doesn't
yeah,
fit.
even like the radius on the lower shock mounts, I like held them up to the axle, and I was like, these aren't even for this size axle. It's like these are for like an axle an inch smaller.
Right.
I'm like, what? Like, why
It's
don't they
super
cut it to the right
frustrating.
size?
I remember when my original business partner and I started this company, we were doing Razor upgrades when the Razors first came out. The little Razor 800s back in like 2007, 8.
7 or 8,
2008. And we wanted to do a long travel kit. And then as we were building it, we wanted it to be bolt-on, like legitimate bolt-on, complete 100% kit. So we made shock towers that would go up and slide into the old shock mounts and against the frame. All you had to do, I think there was like 4 holes you had to drill, and that was it. Everything bolted in. We had the brake lines. We had the right axles made. All the control arms came complete and loaded with Delrin bushings. Everything used the stock pickup points, and we went like way above and beyond to make this a legitimate bolt-on kit. But then it was like, $20,000 if you wanted to buy it. So, so we didn't sell any because we sold like 3 or whatever. I forget what the number was. It was a huge expense, and people were like, "Oh, it's a really cool kit, but it's really expensive." And all the other people selling kits, you could go on their website and you could buy just the control arms, or you could buy just this, and then by the time they piece it all together and make it work, they've still spent the same damn money that my kit cost, but it didn't work that way. So then I can see now as I'm installing other people's kits through the years, they're just cutting corners because it's just too costly not to.
Yeah, they're just like, well, that's pretty close. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. We're only going to sell 10,000 of these, so it doesn't have to be great.
Yeah, they're already looking at next year's model that they've got to build a kit for, or whatever the next problem is, and we also found with razors that, because we were also building roll cages, and we had a jig, and the jig was basically a stock frame that we got from Polaris that had never been used. Well, every other Polaris out there has been used, and every one of them is fucking bent. So you sell this person a cage, and they're like, yeah, I'm at home. I can't get it on my thing. It's off by like an inch. And I'm like, I don't know, bro. Your frame's bent then.
Like, oh, well, dog, you shouldn't have wrecked it.
Yeah,
that's not my bad.
Yeah,
Why'd you roll it 8 times?
Yeah, the whole point, the reason why you're buying a cage from me is because you wrecked it and broke your cage, and now you need a real cage. So it was an ongoing battle of just. So now I've realized there's no such thing as bolt-on.
Yeah, like I think the easiest thing we've ever installed is the Curie Anti-Rock like universal sway bar kit, which just comes with like a piece of DOM that you put the sway bar through and some tabs that you weld to the axle. And we just like hole sawed through the frame, welded it on, and within an hour it was on.
Yep.
We were like, what just happened?
Right.
That's pretty
badass.
sweet though. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's a pretty integrated part as far as I'm.
Yeah.
We even we used the Terraflex one on his Jeep, and it's a similar design except it already has a tube through the frame. But the bushings that you put in there, it took maybe 45 minutes to smack this thing through those bushings.
That was brutal. It was so
broke
brutal.
some hammers.
And you get it, right? It has to be that tight, right? Because it's going to move and it's going to wear.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So, but it's like net, man.
Yeah.
You're pounding something that's 1 inch into a 1 inch hole. It's like
It doesn't work this
it's
way.
1 inch and 1 inch. One needs to be a little smaller, but
That's like the Marlin Crawler dual transfer case for our truck. I think I broke like 10 blocks of wood trying to hammer on the splines. Or more. And my arm was done. Just like sitting under the truck, smacking the shit out of it. I got our 15-pound sledge out, which I call the bad decision maker.
yeah.
And
That's my favorite part of every instruction manual is where they're like, now put it on. I'm like, oh, you mean smack the crap out of it with a hammer for like an hour?
yeah.
I mean, it'd be easier if they just told you that like up front. I'm like, oh, thanks for being honest. Like,
Well, because you think you're doing it wrong, right? But
Right?
in the
I'm like-
instructions, it said you're going to smack the shit out of this for at least 30 minutes with the biggest hammer you have. Just be ready for that. And you're like, all right, and I'd be going into it going, okay. But like 10, 20 minutes into it, you're still hitting it with a sledge, and you're like, I
This
gotta
isn't
be
right.
messing this up.
Yeah, you're like, dude, I've definitely ruined this $2,000 transfer case.
Yeah, this is
I
rude.
don't think the warranty is going to cover me.
Yeah.
how did
Yeah.
it break, sir? Well,
I just take out Bertha and give her a little run around the block,
I don't know. I tapped it a few times just to try to get it on there, and
I just have my brass hammer. So.
Yeah, it was just a brass hammer.
Yeah, it was a dead blow brass hammer.
we just
That's pretty
offended
cool.
everybody in the South.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
I
everybody.
don't
They're
think we have-
innovators.
I
Are you
can't
kidding?
please everybody.
No, I respect crap out of them. Yeah, that's how you get stuff done. You hit it real hard, real freaking hard.
I always say brute force and ignorance.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
a beautiful thing. Most of the bigger projects or like I don't know, more involved, more impressive projects I've been on have only been accomplished through like my complete naivety towards what I was getting into, and then my absolute like headstrong stubbornness to get it finished. And then somewhere in the middle, you find yourself taking a grinding wheel to something that you're like, I don't know, maybe this will work. Like, I hope I don't mess anything up. And I always find myself looking at Jake like, this is a good idea, right?
Always.
Circular head nods, so he really just has to take it all upon himself.
Or
Yeah.
like high lifting a frame rail apart. Like, oh, this frame isn't the right width. I'll fix it.
It'll be fine.
That's rad.
Fine.
Yeah, jacks and like or what do we call that when we take all the energy? Stored energy. Jacks and stored energy are like my favorite because you're like, wow, this can't be right. This can't be right.
It's like a suspense thriller movie.
Yeah,
You're
is
always
this
like,
spring
"Oh,
gonna
no,
fire
what's
through the
gonna
wall and
happen?"
kill the neighbor? I don't know.
Yeah. Springs are rad.
What's been some of your guys' best trail fixes?
Or trail breakdowns and
And
How you
fixes?
fixed it.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just jump into our whole King of the Hammers
Yeah,
debacle, right?
yeah.
Well, first of all, to start out, we were 30 hours late to King of the Hammers. We were supposed to be there like Wednesday morning.
That's
9.
fashionable.
It's a 5-day event,
It
Isn't
is, yeah, but we were already showing up late. So it was
Ah.
like we got there like halfway through the last race. So that wasn't that good.
We were late because we were building a new drive shaft out of sewer pipe in our driveway.
Yeah, which is
Rad.
It's good we did. Yeah, we got it within 7th thou too, and
That's pretty good.
the run out on schedule 40 is like 7th thou. So I'm calling it good.
I don't see any problem
No.
with that.
That's pretty
No.
metal.
Yeah, it actually
Metal's metal.
It's
Yeah.
pretty balanced too. Yeah, so we made it out to King of the Hammers finally. Ripped our anti-rat bar off the axle on a flat dirt road and 2-wheel drive, and then we started to hear this noise, and Brittany turned to me and she was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. We'll just drive slower." And so we drove slow for like a mile, and then I was like, "Okay, it's not going away."
Driving slower didn't help.
Yeah, so we got out to look, and the anti-rat bar is just being dragged by the Heims it's attached to the frame with. So we just like zip tied it.
Did it come off the axle side?
Yeah,
Thank goodness, right?
Yeah, the entire mount just ripped off the 14 bolt.
Yeah.
It had been leaking since we got the truck, so obviously there was a crack in the welds, and they weren't that good, and we should have fixed it, but it just didn't happen. It got pushed to the edge of the whiteboard, and it never got done. So then we make it back to camp, and we lift that side up, and we hit it with like a torch. We pour some gas on it and light it on fire to clean it, and then shove it full of JB Weld and gray silicone, and then put some duct tape around it and some zip ties to hold all the gear oil in. And then it was pretty much better than new at that point. And we zip tied it up to the frame, and we were like, oh, man, because it wraps bad without the anti-wrap bar because the leaves are so soft. And we had to go to Death Valley after that for like 3 days. And we didn't want to cancel the trip, so we decided to drive out to the Home Depot in Apple Valley because, I forgot to mention our drive shaft was also hitting the stupid cross member that we made.
Stupid cross member.
Yeah,
Dumb.
stupid.
Not the drive shaft that we made.
No, yeah, the drive
No.
shaft that a professional made.
But it wasn't the drive shaft's fault. It was the
No,
cross
yeah,
member's
to
fault.
be fair, it was ours. It was our fault. 100%. But so and leaving camp, we get high centered on a piece of firewood with the rear tires just like spinning in the air.
I love this.
That is a big piece of firewood. I've
I
seen
would
the
be-
vehicle out
that's a
there. It has to
very
be a
big
big
piece
piece
of
of firewood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
It had to have been like a tree trunk.
Falling over Sequoia,
Yeah.
was it?
It was a chunk of redwood.
So the only time we put the truck in 4-wheel drive in King of the Hammers was in camp to get off firewood.
That's rad.
For the record, we didn't drive to any obstacles the entire time.
No.
We were just in the camp area.
Yeah, we didn't. We broke before we made it anywhere. So that was rad. And my buddy's dad is just sitting there pointing and laughing, and then he goes to get his phone to take pictures of us while it's happening. Which
That's
is cool.
sweet.
And we actually
That
only
would-
had 3-wheel drive because we had broken the stub shaft on the Dana 60 again a couple of weeks before. Didn't get around to fixing it. So we go to the Home Depot and we buy a Milwaukee cutoff wheel.
Good choice.
Yeah, they're pretty good. The little 18-volt thing.
Sponsored by Milwaukee.
Yeah. The fuel
We
tools.
Please.
Yeah. No. Please send us more.
Yes, Milwaukee number
They're
one.
so expensive. Yeah, and then we go to the parking lot at Target to cut off the cross member with the cutoff wheel, and it was like getting dark, and all I had was sunglasses, and I was doing the safety squint, and so I guess I got some metal in my eye at that point,
Oh man,
which was dope.
the worst.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
really
dope.
bad. And then I was gonna rebuild the transfer case too because it was leaking, but then we were just like so over it, I just gave up. And what else do I have to cut off? Just that cross member? I guess so.
We removed the anti-wrap bar.
Yeah, and we took the anti-wrap bar off and ratcheting strapped it to our bumper. For the rest of the trip, so we go out to Death Valley, go with my buddy. Actually, my buddy Michael, who made the tire fall off my Volkswagen. Hi, Michael. And
Jerk.
yeah, he sucks. And so we get out there pretty much without incident.
But now you have no anti-wrap bar.
Yes, correct.
You've removed a cross member, which I'm sure was there for a reason. So
Yeah.
you've lost some rear integrity
Yeah.
in the vehicle.
The engineers put it there.
And then so it was a stock Toyota part that was left in there?
Mhm.
Okay. And then what was the stub axle was still?
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was still broken, so
Okay.
there's a funny story about the other one where it friction welds itself on. But yeah, that one we just broke at the Corva event. that we were volunteering at. We break the Dana 60 a lot, so.
Sounds like a great axle. I'm kind
thought
of
they were
not
supposed to be
sold on
pretty
it anymore.
Yeah, pretty stout.
I mean, not if you like to party.
Yeah, I
They're more,
guess.
yeah, I'm gonna say they're more stout than a Dana 44, but then you put a Dana 60 and you think, I can hit anything. Bam!
I'm not a good driver.
Which is why I put a Dana 60 on
Yeah.
When the wheels are spinning in the air out of control, lift before it lands.
Off the brakes. That's correct. That's what I do.
Have any of the internals of the 14 bolt, have any of those broken or?
No, the 14 bolt's solid.
Sweet.
I don't worry about it at all. No.
Brad.
It's pretty good.
So did you make it to Death Valley?
Yeah, we did, right? And then we're going, and our buddy, his 4-wheel drive brakes too. He breaks a hub, and we're trying to get out of this, like, the only obstacle in all of Death Valley. And we did it in 3-wheel drive fine, and then, like, towed him up while he was in 2-wheel drive. We make it into Nevada at these pretty dope dunes. And we both get stuck at one point. I'm at, like, the bottom of a bowl, and he's, like, halfway up a berm, just, like, buried to the frame. And we had to do that thing where you get, like, going in a circle around the berm.
Yes.
Like, progressively faster and
Yeah.
faster and faster in the circle until you can finally make your way out. But I guess the axle was wrapping pretty bad without the anti-wrap bar while we were, like, flooring it
Weird.
around there. I don't know
Why would
why.
it do
And we were
that?
in 3-wheel drive, so it didn't steer good. Just, yeah.
And the grill flew off already.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. We hit a bump doing like 40, and the grill shot up like 20 feet and like 10 feet forward, and we couldn't slow down, so we just like ran over it. We had to zip tie it back on. You guys saw the zip ties on
Yeah,
the
Oh, no, it's
Yeah.
great. It looks perfect.
There are
Yeah.
several zip ties on the vehicle.
The rig's outside right now. It's a beautiful beast.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's burly for
It's
sure.
deep.
Yeah,
It's a go truck, not a show truck.
that's for sure.
That's rad.
The fridge mount fell while we were driving.
Oh, yeah, the handle on the fridge broke, and the fridge mount fell and chunked our tire really bad. It, like, threw chunks of rubber everywhere. Forgot about that part, too. That broke.
Those are only minor casualties, though, you know?
Yeah, that wasn't that
It's
bad.
just half a
Tire.
tire.
All in one weekend.
One weekend. Yeah, one weekend. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're not even. Yeah,
We're not
it
done.
gets worse.
Oh, man.
So we're leaving the dunes after having a ridiculous night there, where we're like getting stuck and doing dumb stuff, and then we run out of gas on the highway, and I was like, "Oh no, it finally happened! The truck is like dead. It's ruined." And then luckily, I opened the gas cap and I like shook it, and I was like, "Oh."
I'm not really hearing much of anything in
Yeah.
there.
I forgot it needs that liquid stuff to run. Yeah, and then we make it out, and I guess I think not having the anti-wrap bar pushed that rear U-joint to extreme operating angles, because on our way out of Death Valley, the rear drive shaft explodes, and the U-joint is just like trashed and ruined. So at this point, we have driver's side front wheel drive. And we're like...
Classic.
Yeah, it was dope. We were on this like gravel shoulder part, and I was like, well, I didn't know what to do, because we only have 200-mile AAA, right? Which should also be one of our sponsors. AAA.
AAA.
sponsor us.
We need at least 500.
Yeah, we need 500 or more. And we just wanted to go home. So we just decided to drive home and driver's side front wheel drive. We almost got stuck getting onto the road. We like did a one-wheel peel onto the highway to get onto it, because we were like stuck in the gravel in the shoulder, and all these like overlanded out people were like passing us, and I was like, oh god, don't look at us.
Yeah.
I'm like doing a burnout in 40s to get onto the freeway from the side street. There's like a Prius in front of us pulling out the same way. We're like, oh, please struggle. Like, no, they were fine. So yeah, we're making it home, and front wheel drive, one wheel drive is rough to drive on. Like the first time we shifted into third, we merged into the oncoming lane's shoulder on accident.
Jeez.
Yeah, it pulls a lot. It, like pull
That's a
left and
long
right like
distance.
crazy.
That's a
Yeah.
big distance.
That's not like I
No.
merged into the next guy's lane. That's
No.
like, I'm sure this wasn't a 2-lane freeway either.
No, it was, yeah, we went across like 3 lanes. I was
Killing
pretty
it.
sure we were going to die. So it took us 12 hours to drive home. It's like a 4.5 hour drive.
With metal in your eye still.
Oh yeah, that was dope. So,
Don't
like,
forget that little pesky
every
thing.
time we stopped at a gas station, I'd drink like 3 Rockstars because it required intense focus and concentration to keep the truck in its lane.
With one eye and one-wheel drive.
Yeah, and we would like try and flush my eye out, and I would pound like 3 Rockstars, and then we'd make it like another 100 miles, and then we do the same thing.
That's dedication right there.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, me, the way I am now, and how old I am now, and my patience.
How old are you?
Old enough.
60?
No, not that old. I would have just lit that goddamn thing on fire and left. I would have called an Uber and just been like, "Nah, I'm done."
We were thinking about getting comprehensive insurance a couple times.
Yeah. I back in the day when I was younger, like you guys, I would have totally made it home and like,
Whoa,
this is a
whoa,
cool
whoa, whoa,
story.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Back in the day, you sledgehammer a Bronco?
I did sledgehammer a Bronco
Okay, so
very, very badly. 69 Bronco.
One of the
those
good
aren't
ones.
expensive now.
Yeah,
I
so
no,
had
it's fine.
44s
It's
on it.
cool.
The thing was rad. Pissed me off, so I sledgehammered every single panel on the body.
Oh, yeah. Good thing those aren't collectible.
Yeah, good. Should we go over a list of David's bad decisions? Because I got years worth of them.
Years.
Years.
We're talking about one weekend here in
Yeah, yeah.
specific, though,
That's
right?
true.
Yeah, that's true. This is all just over like a 4-day period.
I think
3-day
it's
period.
I think it's rad that you guys
Yeah.
made it all the way back with one-wheel drive and one eye
And we made it on the drive shaft that we built.
That's awesome.
out of Schedule 40.
Right.
May I ask how that got chosen for the material?
Was it laying around?
Yeah, it was just at the house?
No, so with the dual transfer case, we had to make a longer front drive shaft, and we want it made out of really thick tubing, and none of the drive shaft shops will do that because they're like, oh, you'll die.
If it breaks, it'll come through the floor and kill you.
Yeah, and so I really wanted whatever, like 3-inch quarter wall, or is it 2.5 quarter wall? Anyways, there's one size of DOM that fits perfectly, but can't order that through IMS. So the next closest thing is Schedule 40, and it works okay, but not super great.
But it works.
Yeah,
It works.
yeah,
Still
it
on
was
there?
pretty balanced actually, surprisingly.
See? I don't
Done.
have a
You
problem.
can
with
weld
it.
a couple washers on there. That's what all the shops are.
Yeah, right, that's all you do,
literally
right? If
just
you want to be
weld some
legit-
washers, and that's it.
You want to be a legit drive shaft shop, you just got to weld a washer on one side.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then it looks
I-
super legit.
I was thinking about it, or you can drill a hole in it and I guess pour antifreeze into it, and then it acts like balancing beads
Ooh.
as it spins. Apparently, that's what my buddy used to do, and then you just weld it shut.
Gnarly.
Yeah,
I like
No,
that.
Genius.
Worth trying.
Prevents corrosion.
Yeah,
I like
that
it.
version too.
it won't rust, I guess.
I like
Wow.
that. That's
Yeah.
super sweet.
Oh, so we get home at 5 a.m. and then we immediately go to the VA emergency room where I get rust dremelled out of my eye
Oh,
by a guy who just woke up.
like 20 minutes before his shift.
And who's a what do they call the guy? A resident?
An
Like,
idiot.
Yeah, he's like some trainee. Yeah,
a resident at the VA.
Yeah,
That's who
you
you want Dremel in your eye.
exactly.
Let
You
me
can
tell you.
hear the Dremel like bottoming out into my pupil too.
Oh.
It's like,
You're fine. You're fine.
As it like went in and out.
Well, did
Yeah.
you ever notice why all the VA hospitals are right next door to colleges? You know?
Yeah.
Training.
Yeah, it is
Training.
true.
Training.
That's
That's
fantastic.
a pretty crazy story.
Jeez Louise. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get there.
So your silly little question of what's the craziest thing just turned into like
Yeah.
a 4-day extravaganza.
It was the 4-day extravaganza, like of beat the shit out of the truckness.
Yeah, and I don't know because I mean like I broke a front and rear diff on one hill once, so that was
Must have
maybe
been a mean
worse.
hill.
It was a heart attack hill out.
Hey.
Which I was trying to go up. I was like 18. I had an 86 pickup on 33s. I didn't know anything about gears or lockers. And so all I had was ignorance.
So you just kept hammering down.
Yeah, I just hammered down. I don't know. I just sent it. And it broke.
Admirable.
Broke really bad. Broke spider gears in the rear. And then the front, I broke the ring and pinion.
The spider gear should be welded anyways. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I just put a locker in after that, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, now you can drive right up it.
So after that 4-day trip, I mean, do you guys get home and you just say, I don't even want to look at the truck and you throw a tarp over it? Or do you get after it right away so you don't have to worry about it later?
Kind of, honestly, we feel like we need a vacation from our vacations a lot of the time.
Yeah. can
I feel
understand
Yeah. The truck is 4-wheel drive right now, but it only has It only has one side 35 spline. The other side's still 30 spline. And the wheel bearings on one side are still welded on.
Yeah, so do you have a plan of action to make those not welded on anymore?
I don't know. The backstory on that is there's this one-way obstacle at the Rubicon. I always like to go up it. I always brake on it every single time. And I broke the stub shaft and then drove on it for like 2 hours. And then I guess the wheel bearings welded themselves on. And I couldn't get the tire off because the wheel bearings were so stuck on. I like hit the rotor with a 15-pound hammer like a bunch of times. And actually that rotor's still on there too.
Why didn't that work?
I don't know. It's crazy. And then just left the wheel bearing nuts off and drove up onto a ledge and dropped it like off this 4-foot ledge a bunch of times to see if that would make the tire fall off, and nothing.
No
Didn't even
dice.
budge. So
Wow.
That's a good weld.
yeah, shit. Friction
weld.
welding is it's good stuff. So it's still on there, still friction welded, but it was torqued to spec right before we left. So
Perfect. That's
yeah,
good.
So it's safe.
yeah, it's
Safety.
it's probably better than stock
Yeah.
Upgrade.
because it
You
won't
do-
come loose.
You could do a little DIY on a Tacoma World and like tell everyone how you did it, you know, and like
Yeah.
everyone would be super stoked.
Yeah,
Just friction welded on it. It works great. So you guys buy a sick $9,000 Tacoma that you
Yeah.
trade a bike for,
yes,
and then you just start taking pictures of it and throwing it up on Instagram, and then something. Now, like you guys are the business. Yeah.
Pretty much.
okay.
Well, I mean, you guys they got like
What-
18,000 plus followers, which is rad. They do cool stuff. What's cool about it, I think the alluring part of it is that one, Brittany's actually stuck with him through all these crazy adventures and hasn't said, "Dude, I'm doing something else. This is stupid." So she's a keeper, right? And she likes to get out there and weld. She welds on it, she fabs on it, and they take pictures of it, and they take pictures of their trips, and it's a fun story to follow. I think that's right. It's a fun story to follow.
I think like you know how everyone likes roadkill so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like that's our life, and so I think the same allure that roadkill has, it's kind of similar to us.
Right.
And
I think
we're
so,
always doing
too.
crazy stuff, and like people always talk about doing trail repairs, and essentially like anything we build is a trail repair because we're just like in our driveway under an awning.
Yeah, if it's raining, you're getting wet.
Yeah,
Mhm.
unplugging the washing machine to run the welder, and
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
stuff
you
like that.
you definitely, I don't know. There's a certain level of showing people that that's possible and that you can do that and that you don't need to. I mean, there's a difference, but you don't need to spend X thousands of dollars.
But you should come to Bent Motorsports.
Yeah.
We will
And
shut
do
up.
it.
James, we're a business, bro.
Yeah, come on.
I know.
Like,
I'm
you
sorry.
shouldn't- I will say that
Ian and Brittany are special. They're the only people who can do it by themselves.
Yeah.
Everybody else come here.
it's definitely cheaper to pay a shop to do stuff. 100%. Because just like getting into welding is crazy expensive.
Right?
Like we just bought $800 machine, and that's because we got like a rebate and a deal on it. Our machine before that,
Rebate.
March Madness.
Love baseball.
Yeah. is that really what
Go
it is?
team.
I don't know.
Oh.
It's for sure basketball, but I like your try.
I genuinely don't know.
That was
Yeah, I'm with
awesome.
you, Ian. I don't follow sports.
All I know is apparently ESAB does because they're offering a $200 rebate.
Perfect.
Nailed it.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
So what'd you get? What welder?
the Rebel 215, just the single process, just the MIG. It's good.
It's a good
Sweet.
piece of equipment to have.
It's like the cheaper 211, essentially. I don't see a difference between it and the Miller.
I looked at some of your welds out there. They're pretty clean, actually. If you were to come out and look at a lot of the homebrew fab jobs that we have come in here, wow,
Yeah, I've
it's pretty sad.
Your welds are tip top. I
Yeah.
wouldn't worry anything about
You're
it.
killing it.
I've fixed some homebrew 3 links actually, 3 or 4. I've been fixing the geometry on them for a couple people I know, and they're pretty bad. Or some people have like 3/4 inch heims on their lowers and stuff, and I'm like, oh,
Please.
That's been a break.
no.
Is this stick welded? Oh no, that's TIG. Oh, okay.
So, being that you've had extensive experience with trail repairs, what's your favorite piece of equipment that you bring with you? Or what's the necessity that you should tell everybody bring this when you go wheeling? especially if you're going to do a hard trail.
Safety glasses.
Well, clearly we know zip ties.
Sorry.
We know,
Sorry, did I say that?
safety glasses is one, and zip ties I know is another because you've got a grip of them on your vehicle.
Yeah. Zip ties are good. And JB Weld is also really good. We bring goggles now for no real reason. And we fix a lot of things with ratchet straps.
Yeah, ratchet straps are pretty useful.
They are. We use them a lot for automotive purposes.
Right.
We held my buddy's axle together with him after he broke his center pin in his U-bolts.
Ooh.
And he
Yeah.
drove on it for like a week like that, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Which he probably shouldn't have. And
Yeah.
I ratchet strapped my steering box to the frame after I broke it off, and ratchet strapped our transmission on after the transmission mount broke. And yeah, you can do a lot with ratchet straps.
It really is like the softer version of the JB Weld. You know,
It
it's like the
is,
less
yeah.
permanent version of it.
Yeah.
It's more powerful duct tape.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
one step
exactly.
up from zip ties. Although, yeah, we carry like 200-pound test zip ties.
Really?
Yeah, they're
No,
really
that's
thick.
cool. We
Oh,
carry
those are the
those
big
Harbor
white
Freight
ones?
ones that suck ass.
Oh my god, we broke literally 30 Harbor Freight zip ties one trip. You remember that?
That same trip?
Oh,
it
my
was
God.
We went to Death Valley, but it was the time before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kept having to go out and zip tie our license plate back on.
We used to have a buddy who was a lineman, worked for SDG&E. That's who we got our zip ties from, the big ones. These zip ties were like, a pound each. Like these zip ties they were rad. I mean, they were really, you had to use like a hacksaw to cut through them, to trim them.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I want more of those zip ties. I haven't had them for years, but I keep looking for
$17 a
one.
pop, and you're like, I'm just chopping through 5 of them in one swipe.
Yeah. Those things are, steroid zip ties.
Yeah. Those are
Wish I had
dope.
those again.
Or we did just buy a Ready Welder a couple months ago. Just come in handy.
That's sweet.
I want one of those.
It's pretty good.
Ready Welder, call us. Sponsored by Ready Welder.
Yeah. And AAA and ESAB.
AAA. Hook us up.
Yeah. Let us know.
We
And
have 7
Milwaukee.
listeners.
I need some $200 batteries.
That's rad. So how often do you guys usually get out?
Every weekend.
Wheel
it's-
every
it's
weekend.
Wheel
weekend.
every
It's every weekend?
Yeah, that's
no,
what the
it's
name
absolutely
is.
not. No way. The truck does not run every weekend, so there would be no way. We actually haven't been out in a while, but this weekend I think we're going to go snow wheeling maybe
Ooh.
in the Eastern Sierras. Snow wheeling's pretty fun because it's kind of hard to break stuff. Oh, that being said, last time my buddy broke a CV, and then we popped a bead on our tire, which was full of like snow and mud for like a month. It shook really bad on the freeway. I was just like, oh, I really have to fix this someday.
Like the first time me and him went wheeling together, I guess you could call it wheeling.
You,
There
you
was
and who,
snow.
James?
Yeah, James.
Oh.
Sorry. Nobody
people
else can
can't
see
see
that.
you pointing to James.
No, they can feel the
Oh, right,
magic.
right.
We for sure blew the tire off the rim, broke the axle, and destroyed the windshield with both of our heads in a Jeep Cherokee. So, snow wheeling is not any safer than regular wheeling. But that stump just
I
jumped
think-
out at him.
Right? The rules of risk mitigation state that no matter what terrain or situation, you will always find
Stumps.
some way to make it just as dangerous
Right.
as you need it to be to have fun. You're like, oh, cool. Like, I'm on the freeway. Let's drive 120. I don't do that.
I would think
Okay.
snow is more dangerous. Like there's snow and you can't. It's like when you're skiing
You can-
through powder. It's like, oh, we're in powder. Yeah, well, you can't see what's under the powder. There's like a log or a
No.
rock.
No, that's what
You
happened
just
to us.
blast it.
Yeah.
Blast.
Yeah, that is how we popped the bead.
Yeah.
I was changing the song to like some Katy Perry and just smashed into a rock, and then
Dope.
we don't bring a spare tire because I haven't built the spare tire carrier. And a spare 40 weighs 134 pounds or something.
They're not
I'm
light.
And I
gonna
hear they're
carry that
super
around.
cheap too. So
Yeah. Super cheap to
Yeah.
have an extra one, right?
Yeah, it's they're only a couple $100.
Plus wheel.
Yeah, there's more money in 2 tires on the truck than there is in my daily driver.
Ugh.
That's
your
the
daily
way
driver?
to do it.
Yeah, huh? It's 91 Honda Civics for sale,
Oh, how much?
Anybody out there want to buy it?
2,600.
$2,600.
And it'll last you
I don't
till
buy cars unless they're $500 or less.
Owned
now.
by a celebrity. Yeah. Or don't run. I'm
Or don't run.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
can't run.
That's
so
true.
You need to
We're
pull
cheap.
some
Well,
wires.
yeah,
out.
I mean, I bought it for $500.
I bought the one vehicle and built it, and then everything else must be cheap.
It's a beauty, though.
Although I did pay $1,500 for my truck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you still, it's percentage-wise. Like, you still got it much better deal than it was
But
worth.
you could go
That's
ahead
true.
and sell that thing for double at least.
That's true.
It looks cherry.
It wouldn't pass smog. The guy said it wouldn't pass smog, so he sold it to me real cheap. And it was just because the ECU wasn't keeping a memory. So went ahead and fixed that wire.
He's so smart.
Bam,
Go ahead.
smog. Thanks for the cheap truck.
I will say sometimes cheap vehicles are really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely get what you pay for, huh, James?
Yes.
There's a BMW in the alley.
Yeah, if anybody wants to come steal it.
I think everybody at this table kind of has one of those. Jake just bought. Well, I guess that's not a vehicle because
Hey,
it's
those
just the motor.
forged internals.
Hey, when are they going to come
it's
get
good.
that hunk of junk over there?
I don't know. I got to find somebody who will take it without a motor.
Oh,
What?
a lot of people won't.
Ecology said go have a good day
good
somewhere
day.
else.
Well, we need to sawzall it up then, just like we did to the other one.
Well, the other one's still not even sawzalled all the
Well,
way.
I have a 22R head. We could put in the engine bay.
Make it look like it's got an
Ooh.
engine.
Hey, I like this idea. You should come around more often, like once a week. Yeah.
Well, I don't
Sorry.
know.
Whatever your
recording
current-
right now.
current schedule is. Yeah, James, are we
Oh.
recording right now?
Take a stab
Always.
at that.
Are we live?
I can edit that out. Just make. Gotcha.
Now-
Now he knows exactly where to go when he edits it.
That's how that works. It's okay. Like a couple of episodes ago, I admitted to committed insurance fraud, and we've definitely gone.
Didn't we look up the statute of limitations on that or
Who
something?
hasn't
Yeah, I
done
don't
that though?
And I think
I don't know.
Oh, I haven't.
No,
No.
no. Good job, Ben. Good to you. Go for it.
I got one question for you guys. If you had to choose, not saying it's gonna happen, but if you had to choose another vehicle to do what you do right now, what would it be?
01 through 04 double cab Tacoma, the 3.4.
Oh, nice.
Wow, very
you
specific.
didn't even have to think about
You didn't
that.
have to think about it.
Yeah, we're
We've been
already.
talking
That's what
about it.
dreams are made of.
Yeah, we already have an automatic transmission transfer case coming because the 2-wheel drive ones are like half as much as the 4-wheel drive ones, and I don't want any of the 4-wheel drive stuff anyways. It all
Yeah.
just gets cut off, so it doesn't matter. And actually, just last night, we found one that a guy started a project on. It has a supercharger and just the double cab and the frame and a 14 bolt in the rear, and like that's it. And he's trying to sell it for $6,000. So I'm trying to go up there with our box truck this week and get it and bring it back.
Dang,
Relink it.
Sweet.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
I owned one of those for a while. I sold it to my sister. We had the TRD one, so I had the locking mirror. And I went up to what was
Turd
it?
power.
Turd power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went up to what's above Idlewild? Black Mountain.
B Canyon?
San Jacinto?
No, it's right above. You're cruising through Idlewild, and I think it's Black Mountain.
I think it's
Road.
technically Black Mountain,
Right?
It's,
Yeah, I think so.
I was snow wheeling up there, and we made it the highest out of almost everybody that day until I saw like a Unimog and 2 like fully built Toyotas cruise down, and I was like, well, if you guys did better than me, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That
But
was
yeah,
a
they're
sweet
sweet
truck.
trucks. They're
They're
great.
good, yeah,
They're
and
great
They're
trucks.
still small, but they have a lot of cab space.
And the 5EZ, the motor in them, it'll
Yeah.
last forever.
Yeah,
those
they're,
are
I
proven.
mean, they're not made for speed though.
Oh,
they weigh
no.
as much as the 6.0, and they make 190 horsepower or something.
Holy moly!
So.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're like 520 pounds.
Sick.
Yeah,
Just the motor alone is
Stout.
520?
yeah, I think
Jesus.
so. With some accessories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
yeah,
That's a heavy lump.
yeah. So we're also gonna this summer we're supposed to 6.0 swap the truck.
Really?
Yeah,
That'll be a fun project.
I guess we're trying to do it
I
smog
guess.
legal. So
That
bummed
won't
about
be a
that.
fog.
That's right.
No, that's going to be a nightmare.
That's gonna be a project.
SP100. Didn't we talk about that last time?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
SB100.
I gotta
No,
look-
we,
yeah, I gotta
they weren't
Google
here
that.
last time.
Oh yeah, no,
Let's
we
forget
weren't here
about
on Friday.
Oh, okay.
This is
sorry.
all new to us.
So what is this whole endeavor that you're gonna jump into?
It's 6.0, the 4L80E out of a Silverado, and then we're gonna take all the smog stuff and everything, the cluster and everything, and put it in the Tacoma.
Sweet.
And then I don't know. The advantage to the 6.0 is that you can go on eBay and for $2,000 you can make another 200 horsepower. Whereas for the 5EZ you have to spend like $4,000 for the supercharger and the fuel mods to make like an extra 30 or 40 horsepower.
No.
Which I did just buy a supercharger though.
I mean that 6.0 is pretty much turnkey every time. You know, like
Yeah.
you shouldn't
What's
have
in
to
my
worry about that
GMC?
for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a beast.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
Yours has how many miles on it?
Got 230, just over 230,000.
Killing
Yep.
it. Just a
I had
couple
to
of
replace-
seals and whatever.
Yeah, the lower intake plenum is a problem on those, so that's fun. But that's because they use Dex Cool, so just flush that thing out and put normal green in there. I don't know what the fancy term for that is.
Yeah, I believe they call it antifreeze.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Coolant. Just the green
It's
stuff.
glycol.
Yeah, glycol, right?
Green.
But yeah, those are awesome. They'll pull for sure.
Yeah, and just want to go fast.
Right?
Fast. Fast.
We
quick.
all do.
But that's the problem with having rock crawler, right? Up until those crazy guys started Ultra 4, and we all realized, oh, wait, I can have a trophy truck that will rock crawl?
Yeah, that was funny. I was who was I talking to? But he was saying that some of the first cars they had bumper stickers on them that said you just got passed by a rock crawler. I was like, oh, I
Want that, yeah. I want that. Yeah, it's like having it's like when you're in the street racing world, and you have a sleeper. Same thing.
Yeah.
You see a big old overtired, underpowered rock crawler, and you think, and then it just goes by at 100. You're like, oh, well, never mind.
Yeah, see, that's our plan with we're doing trailing arms too coming up. We're trying to get the 14-inch coilovers. There'll be like 25 inches of travel in the back.
Jesus.
Oh,
And
yeah.
That's why we're cutting off the flatbed, which I hate. And we're actually copying a guy, Otwell Welding and Fabrication, and his flatbed is essentially made out of a bunch of like underside aluminum diamond plate toolboxes that he has like stacked up and welded on with a spare tire and a huge gas tank and all this stuff. So
That's
copy his idea.
That sounds pretty crafty.
Yeah, it looks really good. His stuff's a lot nicer than ours, though. So ours will be like a hacked up version of that.
Sick.
It's like partway done, like zip ties and.
You need both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, you do. You
Yeah.
really. It can't be too nice because then if you roll it, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
I spent how many hours on that?
Instead of like, yes, I can finally cab swap it. This thing's terrible.
Rad.
Yeah, I guess you have to figure out which way you want to go with the engine swap, right? We all deal with engine swaps. It's either you smog it to that year, make, model of engine, or you figure out how to get around the SB100 deal and pretend like it's a special build.
Yeah, or you get it registered in like Julian or something where it's a one-time smog and then
Yep.
Mhm.
hope you never have to move or.
That's my plan of attack right now with the whole LS thing. Is
Yeah,
we
you're
have
going to be a Havasu boy,
the
right?
Havasu. Yeah, but the cool thing is that we're on the California side, so I still get to keep the California plates.
That's good. 'cause
Yeah.
then you don't get messed with.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
so I'm gonna run cats just for the smelly smell of it. You know, I don't want to get pulled over and the guy be like, it smells a little rich. You know, like, no, nothing going on under here. You know, don't worry about me. Yeah, my hood latch broke. I can't open it. Sorry. Like, move on.
Yeah.
I'll fix my taillight. Yeah, it never works anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have an LS, so you just run from them, right?
I don't
don't-
want to do that
No?
really.
Never turns out well.
It never
No.
Never turns
You
out
can't
well.
outrun a helicopter
No.
or a radio.
I've
Yeah.
seen those movies. Aren't there like 10 of them now?
I think 9, but yeah,
9,
they
yeah,
do that all
yeah.
the time. But it's more of like FBI stuff, you know. Like I think
Yeah.
the police are a little better than the FBI when it comes to chasing people down.
Really?
No, probably not.
I don't know. Yeah.
If life were only a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you live your life 1/4 mile at a time, you know.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta think about.
You're an idiot. Do you drive an S2000?
No.
1,000.
So you guys got Eastern Sierras coming up. Anything else?
What do we have coming up? We're trying to go to Moab before it gets too hot. We haven't been to Utah yet, and it's like one of my favorite places in the States. And then this summer, every year for our anniversary, we do a Rubicon trip over July 4th, like during the week. So we'll do that. I think we're trying to hit Rubicon and Fordyce this summer together if we don't break everything.
Well,
So,
Rad.
just got to go through and get all those little things fixed, right? Like the welded hubs and all those little
yeah,
things.
I wasn't even going to fix that. Just to be totally
It's
honest.
not a problem. They're on really good.
So far, it's been good. Yeah, I think the bearings were even pretty new. They only had like 50,000 miles on them or something.
Yeah. Good to go.
Very good.
Good to go.
So
Cool.
what's the farthest you guys have ever gone on a trip?
Probably the Rubicon, actually.
Yeah.
Which is fun. We spent like a week up there, and it was rad. Actually, there were these badass kids on the Rubicon. We towed them out, and it was just like 4 drunk 17-year-olds and like an 85 4Runner.
Nice.
And they mangled their rear drive shaft. And we went for like a hike and we just ran into them. And they were blacksmithing and they were heating up rebar over a fire until it got like smoking hot. One guy was like blowing on the fire, and then they were cutting it with a hatchet to put it on their drive shaft and like ratcheting strap it around it to try and drive out. Meanwhile, their other
wow.
That is some next level crap.
Yeah.
These kids were badass.
They are way harder than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I would have left. And their other 2 buddies hiked out like 12 miles in cowboy boots with just like a backpack of warm Coors Light. And they got in their truck.
It's as good as water.
Yeah.
That's the enthusiasm I like to see.
Yeah. They drive into town, get the last like stock rear drive shaft from some shop down there, drive back up, and it's like their 36-hour day, and they hike back in and get their drive shaft swapped to meet up with their dad, who I guess has a buggy and is part of some rock crawling group.
And you just left him?
No, he was coming in
That's how you
later.
learn, man.
Yeah, and they were like, hey, if you see our dad, can you let him know that like all our stuff's broke? And I was telling him, I was like, I'll tow you out in front wheel drive, but I'm going west and you're going east, so
Doesn't really
I
work
really
out.
want to drive that way.
Gnarly.
It takes a while. Yeah,
Right?
those kids are awesome. So they got it
That's
swapped and they drove out of
rad.
there.
That's why we like the Rubicon, because you meet like people like that, and you have like you run into people with $2,000 rigs, and then you run into people with like $200,000 rigs, and you're all sharing warm Coors Light.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah, and I'm hoping this year I finally have a vehicle that I can go do the Rubicon. So my little group of guys, we're all going to try to go up and do it. A couple of them have already done it, but I've heard there's like community toolboxes and stuff like in campgrounds where you can like find bits and like hubs and bits and pieces. There's like treasure chests and
There's
stuff.
broken parts all throughout the Rubicon, but I didn't see any community toolboxes.
Man, I'm going to ask some guy where he found that thing.
Yeah, sir. Was that Scott?
Yeah, was it Scott? Yeah,
I think it was Scott.
We got to get Scott in here.
Snap on.
If you want to
Throw us
borrow
for
the
a
Ready
loop.
Welder, go for it.
Yeah, Ready Welder. Dude, yeah, I got to get one of those, man. I think that's an essential piece of equipment, right? A welder.
Yeah, and it works great. I think it'll melt 1/2 inch. With
That's
3
rad.
batteries for sure. It'll
May I
melt
ask what the general price area for that is?
We got on eBay because we're poor. I think it was
Sweet.
like $400.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
So
What do you think? Like a brand new retail? And do you got to have 2 batteries to run these things?
with one, I would say with one battery you could weld a little, maybe like 3/16. So
I don't
I'm
think
gonna have to ratchet strap a battery to my hood.
Yeah.
I have another one.
or you can just pull it from your buddy. It doesn't drain the battery all the way for sure.
Yeah.
Like we welded an entire drive shaft together, and I just started the truck right back up.
Oh, that's cool.
Hmm.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I hooked up the batteries backwards. So first I blew our main fuse,
Sick.
and then yeah,
Which is why you have a fuse. Good
yeah,
job.
well, now it's resettable, right? You had a resettable on there.
yeah. Oh, I stopped and fixed that actually. All we did was we like broke. Toyota bolts the fuse in from underneath the fuse box. So you have to take the whole thing apart to get to
Right.
it. So instead, I just like broke the fuse in half, and then the 2 like copper tongs, I just zip tied the ABS fuse onto
Jesus
it.
Christ.
Man, the ABS fuse.
I like it.
The ABS fuse has saved me more than once.
Yeah,
Don't need that. I can use that fuse.
ABS is stupid.
yeah,
Need that?
Sweet. I'm going home. Bleep.
yep. It's actually still like that right now. I can show it to you guys.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna see that
Yeah.
before you leave. So now this is the welder that you just hook to the battery and you use it. Now, there's another? I don't know the other one. Isn't there another one that you change your alternator and it's like built in under the hood?
Yeah, what's that called?
I forget what they call that one. I've seen
That one's
those
like
before.
$2,000.
That's spendy.
And yeah, and the advantage to the Ready Welder is it just comes in like a small case, so you just like put it in your toolbox and
Right, you just carry it.
yeah, and it's nice. It's just like a little spool gun essentially.
What
Yeah.
is it like flux core, or are you running gas?
So
or
it's flux core, but also you can run gas. So I use CO2 to fill up the tires, so you can run solid core with the CO2.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
you could do like like shop quality trail welds if you needed to.
Heyo.
That's rad.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. So
Except for I don't put CO2 in my tires. I got to change that.
yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I've just got the little ARB double pump thing. Pumps it up.
That's really the way to go.
Simple. But maybe I just have a tank anyways, right? Just have a tank with CO2 in it.
Right?
Forget it, dude. I'll just bring a big mix.
Yeah.
Don't use that tank for
bottle.
Yeah, don't use that tank, guys. That's big mix.
Yeah.
I just saw today, David's. I've never seen your full like trail stash in the back of your.
Oh yeah, I opened the back.
Jeep.
Yeah, the back door up. I got lots of stuff in the back of the Jeep.
It's extensive.
Yeah, I carry a lot of crap.
Yeah, I mean, It's like a mom's purse back there.
Yep, I got everything. I got little candy bars and Band-Aids,
In case you have a little episode.
granola bars. Yeah, you know.
It's the
Little
premier
Ziploc bag of
welder.
Cheerios.
Yeah,
I don't even
$1,300. Premier.
Oh, Premier.
Yeah.
So the alternator-driven one that's like built in.
but you can TIG weld on the trail because it's necessary.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm okay
Wow.
with the spool gun
Yeah, right?
because it's like I want to get the hell out of here thing, not gear up and lay down some nickels.
Yeah. It works good too. It melts the metal and it'll weld through rust for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to clean anything. It'll weld through paint too. If you start on the clean area and go towards the paint,
Right.
melts right through it as you're going.
And you do
All
what
that
we do
matters.
when the metal's still hot. You spray paint it, so it's like powder coat now.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it sizzles. You're like, yeah, it's baked on. It's powder coat.
yeah.
Perfect.
That's the way to go.
Yeah. So James, what do you think? Back of my Jeep, I got enough crap back there.
Oh, I mean, you don't have a welder, so
Well, I know. I got to make room for a welder now.
when you get that, yeah, that'll be good to go. I mean, I usually just don't even check if I have a spare tire. I just jump in whatever truck is given to me and head
And
out
go?
and just try to make it happen.
That's why, as long as you know I'm with you, you'll be all right.
I know. That's
As long as
why
you got Daddy going.
when on the jeez Louise.
I still got to find. We still got to zip tie my my spare drive shafts down onto my frame.
Yeah, we do have to do that. I keep forgetting.
Oh, we found a spot for ours above the sliders, but underneath the cab. There's like a little hollow spot, and I was going to cut out part of the supports for the sliders because I don't think you really need those, and then shove the drive shaft
It's
up.
just right. Yeah,
those are
it's
for
extra
hacks.
metal, right?
Yeah, I think they're for show. They're like steps.
Right.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah, I think it's the last thing I got to do is I've got my spare hub and then my 2 drive shafts that I have to put somewhere. And I don't really want to put the drive shafts inside. I got to find a place outside to put them.
You should like ratchet strap them to the front bumper.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
that wouldn't hurt. I'll ratchet strap it to my tie
Steering.
rod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw on Instagram a guy who was like bringing home some DOM, but he had like a straight axle 4Runner, and he ratchet strapped the 20-foot stick to both of his axles underneath. He was like, "Yeah, what do you do when you don't have a roof rack?" And I was like,
That sounds
That
like a
is
terrible idea.
sketchy. Damn.
Because those don't move, independently. or
Yeah,
anything.
no.
And like, what if you're in a parking lot and you're just like, fuck, just taking people out?
And
Rat.
you forget you've got that big javelin sticking out of the front of
Yeah.
your car.
You take a turn too wide and you just like mow down a family of 4, take them out at the knees.
Or you can just tell the metal yard to just, I don't know, cut it in half.
Cut it in
Yeah.
half, maybe.
It's like $1 a cut, right?
yeah, if that.
If that.
That would be way too much work.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Because then you have that many more sticks that you got to put to the other side from axle to axle, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't strap 2. That's not safe.
That's wacky. That's wacky.
Yeah.
Well, I think this went much better this week, guys, with the actual recording, right, James? So,
The way this time that we actually recorded it was spot on.
Like the red light's been on this whole time.
the red
I think
light's
that-
been on the whole time.
I think
That's
that's good.
awesome. That's well done.
I did a good job.
Well, we will all pat you on the back as soon as this is over.
Thank you.
I want to thank Ian and Brittany for coming out and hanging out with us 2 nights in a row.
Yeah,
in the last
woo!
few days. And don't forget to follow them on Instagram, Wheel Every Weekend. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast at Bent Motorsports. Talk to you guys later.
You know, I say that there's an outro loop that I put.
Yeah, I
on
know,
it.
but I like to say it because you forget things like gigabits and plugging things in. So you may forget to put the outro into our podcast. So I say the outro.
Do you have like a dope song at the end?
I mean,
Maybe you could just.
One of them was like a little.
Here, James, I'll help you. Okay, cut it out. You cut that part out. When you hear the when you hear the clap, cut it. Okay, cut it right there.
I'm surprised we didn't scare them away.
No. We're here forever now. We're just gonna set up shop.
Feel free.
This has been the Bent Motorsports Podcast. Thanks for listening in. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Bent Motorsports. Stay updated on the latest happenings, future projects, videos, and events here at the shop. Remember, guys, at Bent Motorsports, bits in stock, we've got it.